Okay, I'm going to try and make this quick video while I'm watching my boys for you all to see some examples of what you need to do here. Remember, the basic form of this is the first skill that I assigned today. This is 6.3 notes. The basic form of an equation, my baby is very excited right now, is principal times 1 plus the r. The r could be a percentage or a rate. But when you add the 1 plus r, this is the factor. So anytime they use the word factor, they're looking for what's in the parentheses. And then t over a. Here's the thing, though. They're saying they want the factor to be 3/5. And as we look right now, it is not 3/5. So we need to change it so that it is 3/5. How could we do that just using our rules of exponents? Well, the trick here couldn't we think of this as 120 times 3 to the 4th and 5 to the 4th? And if that's true, then we could just kind of pull this 4 outside. They have the same exponent, so we're allowed to write it as 120 to the 3/5 to the 4, and then it would just be multiplied by that t outside. Now, what they're really looking for here is the a value, right? But it's a little bit confusing because the a is the number underneath, and right now it's being multiplied. It's not underneath. So you need to look at this equation and you think, okay, what would this look like with the a underneath? Well, multiplying by 4 is the same thing as dividing by its reciprocal 1/4. So the a value here is 1/4. Boom. Another way you can do this is you could take your new exponent and just set it equal to 1 and say, okay, what would happen if I solve for t? And that would give me your new a value as well. So the answer in this problem is 1/4. All right, let's do the next one. Okay, so this is the same skill, but a little bit different problem. Again, remember, we want the equation to look like this. And right now, it doesn't look like that at all. It looks like something completely nasty. But what can I do? Let's see. And the other thing that I'm reading here is it says every month. And this is a question that I'll ask students often is every how many months or every how many days or what is it asking for? And I'm not being sarcastic here. I know it seems like a trick question, but it's every 1 month. Well, that means that your a should be 1. So really our equation shouldn't look like this. It should look like this. And they're looking for the factor, so they're looking for whatever's inside these parentheses when we're all said and done. So whatever's being raised to the power of t, that's going to be our answer. So let's look at this problem here. I see that I have 2 to the 3t plus 7. When you see an exponent or an addition sign inside an exponent, Luke is very excited with his toys. It means this. It means you can multiply with the same base, and you could separate out those exponents. Now, 2 to the 7th is 128, so I would actually write it as the 128 first, and then I would think of this as 2 cubed to the t. Remember, you can separate that 3 inside there. The reason why I changed the order is simple. This number, because it's just like a coefficient or a number out in front, that's your principal amount. And this is the thing inside the parentheses, so that must be my factor. So one last step, what is 2 to the 3rd? Well, it's 8. All right, so now I have it written exactly, oops, highlighted the wrong color, exactly how I want it. Where I have my principal out in front, my factor here of 8, and my t all by itself because it should have a 1 underneath there. And so that means my new factor must be 8. Easy peasy. Okay, here's the last one from the last skill. And I know I did these things like this in the notes, but just wanted to give you guys another example here. And in this one, it's a little bit different because in this one, we are going from years to months. So this is where they change the units on you. And the real easy way to do this is just think about like, is this unit getting smaller or bigger? In this situation, we're going from years to months, so it's getting smaller, so you're going to divide. So if I wanted to write this equation in terms of months, where t is months, it would look like this of t. It would look like 612, 2/3. Everything's the same, but the only thing is I take my t and I would divide by however many months are in a year. It's 12. Boom. So there's the question written out in months now. And you could think about this remember, this should be a 1 year. Well, if you plugged in a 1 here, you'd get 2/3 of the 1. Well, we should get the same thing when we plug in a year equivalency, which is 12 months. So if I plug in 12 here, 12 divided by 12 is 1, and I still have 2/3 to the 1. So that's how we could kind of check and make sure that we did it right. But basically, if your unit's getting smaller, you're going to divide by your conversion factor. If it went from like years to decades, I would multiply this by 10 instead of divide by 12. I would multiply by that conversion factor. All right, I'm not done yet though, because it says every how many months? Again, every 1 month. So really you want your A to be 1. It is not 1 right now, it's 12. But what is T divided by 12? It's the same thing as 1/12 times T. And so what you're allowed to do is you can just kind of move that 1/12 inside the parentheses with the 2/3. So you're gonna need a calculator for this part. So I'm gonna pause and go use a calculator. And I just used my Desmos calculator, and when I got 2/3 to 1/12, I got 0.9667. But it does say right here that they just wanted to 2 decimal places. So 2 decimal places would around 2.97. So let me bring it over here. If I was to rewrite this equation again in months, now T is months, it would be 612. And now 2/3 to the 1/12, this part in red, would be 0.97. Again, that's rounded to 2 decimal places to the T. And now everything is written exactly how I want it. The A is 1, there's nothing underneath here. And the new factor would have to be 0.97 or 0.97. Now, did I really need this 612? Did I need all that? No, I just really needed to move all I really had to do at the end of the day is move the 1/12 inside and do 2/3 to the 1/12 in the calculator. That's my new factor. Now, they could ask something different. They could ask for like the percent decrease, and then you have to see like, oh, it's going down by 3%. They could ask a few different questions, but this one asks for the factor, so it's easy. All right, see you guys on the next video.